it's a 1992 murder of a teenage boy that got zero media attention. The victim's name is De'Shaun Hollins. Police believe he was murdered in Houston and then brought to Austin County, where his body was dumped.
In tonight's episode of The Evidence Room, our Zach Lashway is launching a new KPRC2 original series called Z Files that looks into cold cases within marginalized communities. Zach is joining us now with a sneak preview of tonight's episode. Zach, good morning.
Good morning. This was something that was near and dear to my heart. As you know, as reporters, we are constantly assigned to cover murders, and it's never an easy task for us, but it's certainly not easy on the families, loved ones who are impacted by these murders. And so when you think about the murders that we are assigned to cover, there are so many of them that don't get solved. Mm-hmm. And then there are so many murders that we are not assigned to cover, and murders that never get media attention. And so this got me thinking about cold cases as a whole. And so I decided to stop by a Crime Stoppers meeting one Tuesday evening to talk with family members, loved ones of people who had been murdered. And these are people who show up month after month to these meetings, hoping to talk with people and get word out about their loved one's murder. And so right now there are about 200,000 cold cases across the country. These are cases that are not solved. Here in Houston, HPD owns 6,000 cold cases. And having had a conversation with the head of the cold case division unit at HPD, I asked him how many of these cold cases belong to victims within marginalized communities, and he said majority of them do. And so, there's an appetite there. Some of these people have never had the opportunity to get the word out about their loved one's murder. And
I'm sure they, in some cases, feel forgotten, right?
Yeah, and they feel forgotten, and that's exactly where the name came from. Z is the initial for my first name, but it's also, more importantly, it is the last letter of the alphabet. It is the back of the filing cabinet. And when I was at this meeting, I had asked people specifically about this name. What are your thoughts on the name Z Files? And they said that it was very representative of how they felt about their loved one's case not getting attention, being at the back of the filing cabinet.
Yeah, and that's what De'Shaun Hollins' mother really said to you in that interview earlier. We saw a clip about it, and she said, it just felt like my son's life wasn't valued, right?
Not valued. 1992, that's 31 years ago, maybe. 32, almost 32. She knows the days. She actually knows the hours, if you ask her, of how long it's been since De'Shaun was murdered. And so he was murdered back in March of that year. Police believe that he was shot and killed in Houston, and then he was brought to Austin County, dumped somewhere between Belleville and Sealy along a highway. And so this, for her, having the opportunity to speak with us for the first time in more than 30 years.
Well, and some people say, well, it's been a long time, these cold cases. I mean, what can we really do? But as Andy Kahn says, we're going to do anything and everything that we can, because you think it's been that long, but if anybody saw something, maybe they just forgot about it. And if the case never got attention, they would have had no reason to ever think about it ever again. And then all of a sudden, 30 years later, a memory comes, right? Somebody gets to
jogging your memory.
Right? And then the process gets started again. So, boy, we hope that there's something good for these families that comes out of it, at least after all these years.
A lot of hope.
All right, Zach, thank you so much.
Okay.
We look forward to it.